Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm here to do a little different type of video. I'm doing like a more fun one. I feel like I haven't done like a fun video in a while. Like it's mostly wrap-ups and vlogs. I've decided to do a drinking game with all of my TBRs from 2018. So conveniently in my bullet journal, I've been writing down my TBR every month, and based on all the books that I ended up not reading in 2018, I'm gonna take a drink for every book I didn't read. To make this less complicated, if a book appears over multiple months, then I will drink every month that I don't read it. So every time a book appears in TBR, if I didn't read it, it gets a drink, just so I don't have to keep track of stuff. And this video was inspired by Drinking by My Shelf. Her channel is linked down below, and she does a series monthly where she goes through her TBR that month and takes a drink for every book she doesn't read. I don't know, it seemed like a fun idea, so I'm just gonna do it for the whole year. And today I am drinking Sutter Home Moscato in this cute little bottle. I'm 22 years old, in case you're worried. I do get that I'm young a lot. 22 is still young, but it is over the legal drinking age, so do not call the cops. And yes, Moscato is often referred to as liquid candy. Do I care? No, I like sweet things. We're moving on. Oh, and another not quite rule, but the way my TBRs work, I have my random pick every month. I only have to read 1 out of 3 of my random picks, so as long as I've read 1 of the random picks, I don't have to drink. Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso, I read that. Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit, I read that. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, I read that. Uprooted by Naomi Novik, I didn't read that. It's hard to drink from this bottle, I'm also wearing lipstick. Unrivaled by Alison Noel, I didn't read that. My random picks for the month were Longborn by Joe Baker, All Fall Down by Allie Carter, Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I didn't read any of those. And then the last 4 books I put on my TBR because I foresaw me doing this game because I didn't read any of them, and they were The Austere Academy by Lemony Snicket, The Ersatz Elevator, The Vile Village, and The Hostile Hospital. I feel like I look weird drinking because I have to like send my lips out. So that's what the bottle's looking like after January. I might need another bottle. We have Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. Oh wait, I read that. I don't have to drink. Swing Time by Zadie Smith. I didn't read that. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I read that. And Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I didn't read that. The Radical Element, edited by Jessica Spotswood, didn't read it. Auntie Poldy and the Sicilian Lions by Mario Giordano, didn't read that either. Unrivaled by Alison Noel, I DNF'd. Uprooted by Naomi Novik has made a reappearance, but I finally read it. Murder on the Orient Express, I read. This is 187 milliliters. What is that in cups? The Radical Element, edited by Jessica Spotswood, I read. Auntie Poldy and the Sicilian Lions by Mario Giordano, I ended up DNFing. Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, I read this month. And Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, didn't read. Ask the Passengers by A.S. King, didn't read. The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace, I read that. And The Price Guide to the Occult by Leslie Walton, I didn't read that at that point. My random picks were Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones, The Book of Ivy by Amy Engel, and 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I didn't read any of those, and I'm trying to take smaller sips. I can't get another bottle. April! Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, I read. The Price Guide to the Occult by Leslie Walton, still didn't finish reading. Chaotic Good by Whitney Gardner, didn't read. 806 by Cynthia Whale. Lizzie by Dawn Us, nope. Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones, didn't read at that point. Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, still didn't read. More Than This by Patrick Ness. The Power by Naomi Alderman. And my random picks were Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson, Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, and Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Oh, I did read that. I didn't need to take a drink for that. I'm an idiot. The Price Guide to the Occult by Leslie Walton. I finally read it. Her Body and Other Parties by Maria Carmen Machado. I read that. Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I read that. Chaotic Good by Whitney Gardner. I finally read that. And The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu is about to make a lot of appearances because I did not read that. I was supposed to skip that drink. Okay, the next one I'm skipping for real. Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. I finally read that. Picture Us in the Light by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. I did not read that. and I won't drink for that one because I drank before. My random picks for the month were It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini, Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins, Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And I did not read any of those, so it's time to take a drink. And here we have June. First we have Freshman by Tom Allen and Lucy Iverson, which I read and enjoyed. The Ultimate Survival Guide to Being a Girl by Christina DeWitt, which I did not read and it's about to make a couple more appearances. Fresh Ink edited by Lamar Giles. I didn't read that. The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. Didn't read that either. Rise of the Superheroes by David Tosh. Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins. Picture Us in the Light by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. I read that at this point. Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertelli. I read that. Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I read that. My random picks for the month were The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. Magonia by Maria Devana Headley. We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. Didn't read any of them. July. I didn't read that much. The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. I read it, finally. The Girl's Guide to Conquering Life, which I read. Fresh Ink, edited by Lamar Giles. Didn't read. The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Goose. Still did not read. Rise of the Superheroes by David Tosh. P.S. I Like You by Casey West, which I read, and that was pretty good. Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins. I read that finally. Didn't like it as much as I wanted to. The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. I read that. That was good too. The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. I read that as well. And Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Did not read that. I have like one drink left, and it's not a drink. My random picks for the month were Caravel by Stephanie Garber, Startup by Dory Shafrir, and Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella, which I read. Oh, in August, I did not do a monthly TBR because I did 2 readathons. I did the Booktubeathon and the Newts. So I'm not gonna drink for this because I have 1 sip left. We move on. September is definitely gonna be the worst month for drinks because I made up ARC September because I was doing the readathons in August, so there was no ARC August for me. And then I didn't read any of the ARCs because I'm garbage. We started off strong with Sadie by Courtney Summers. I read Rise of the Superheroes by David Tosh. I read that as well. 500 Words or Less by Julia Del Rosario. I read that as well. And then we moved on to all the books I didn't read, which were The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Tartan. I did read that later. I can make this into one more drink. And so The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Yu appears again for the 4th time. Still didn't read it. So what's gonna happen is I am not gonna get another bottle of wine because I drank this in maybe 15 minutes. So for the rest of the video, we're drinking water. The Painted Art Journal by Jeanne Oliver. The Ultimate Survival Guide to Being a Girl by Christina DeWitt. Still didn't read that. Lifelike by Jay Kristoff. Didn't read that. Smothered by Autumn Chickless. Didn't read that. Girls Resist, A Guide to Activism, Leadership, and Starting a Revolution by Kaylin Rich. Did not read that either. And some books that weren't ARCs. Not That Bad, Dispatches from Rape Culture. I read that. The Winner's Kiss by Marie Rakowski. Didn't read that. My random picks for the month were Crash and Burn by Michael Hassan, Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, and Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. And I read Library of Souls, so I don't need to drink. I did not expect to go through the whole bottle, honestly. So how I do on my monthly TBRs, not great. That's what I've learned. October is a much better month. So The Way You Make Me Feel, I think, makes its final appearance. I still did not read it. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, I did read. The Ultimate Survival Guide to Being a Girl by Christina DeWitt, I finally read that. The Winner's Kiss by Maria Rakowski, I read that as well. Refinery 29 Money Diaries by Lindsay Stanberry, I read. Useless Magic by Florence Welch. I don't know if that really counts because I never really planned to read it in full. So I'm not gonna drink. If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, I didn't read that at that point. And then my random picks for the month were The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, and Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin, and I had read none of those. And now we're in November, which is the last month because December is not yet over. Pride by Abby Zaboy, I read that. More Than This by Patrick Ness makes its final appearance, and I did not read it. It Devours by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner, which I read. I just didn't check it off. Lifelike by Jay Kristoff, I read that. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, I read that. Well Read Black Girl by Glory Edom, did not finish that. Girls Resist by Kaylin Rich, didn't read it. And Bad with Money by Gabby Dunn, did not read that. And then my random picks were Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi, Little Monsters by Kara Thomas, and The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I ended up reading Little Monsters and The Raven Boys, so I don't have to drink for that. And yes, so that's the end of the video. I finished a miniature bottle of wine that was 187 milliliters. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Check out Drinking by My Shelf down below. If you have any opinions about like my TBR or any of the books that I mentioned, that was all the books in every TBR I've ever done. So yeah, if you have any opinion about that, about how bad I am, about like checking off the books on my TBR, then leave a comment down below. I feel like other people will do this and they'd be like, oh, I should stop making TBRs. And I'm like, no, I should just make better TBRs. Like, I don't know, I like making TBRs, even if I don't follow them, because it leads to fun drinking games like this. And if you want more videos about books, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I promise I'm sober in all of them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!